New Jersey has a problem. A MAGA Republican candidate on the ballot whose business made over $12 million downplaying opioid dangers to peddle painkillers while thousands of New Jerseyans were dying. His name is Jack Ciattarelli, and the story of how he went from making millions publishing opioid marketing and sales material to running for New Jersey governor is one he desperately doesn't want you to know. So much so that he's actually suing his opponent for even bringing it up. While families across the Garden State were being destroyed by the opioid crisis, while parents were burying their children, while the death toll climbed from hundreds to thousands, Jack Ciattarelli was cashing checks from Big Pharma to help them push more pills. The Republican candidate for governor has spent years talking about his small business credentials, painting himself as a regular businessman who understands the struggles of everyday New Jerseyans. But the reality is far more complicated and way more consequential. At the height of the opioid crisis, which has killed over 23,000 New Jerseyans, Ciattarelli was making millions through his company, Galen Publishing, a medical publishing firm that produced continuing education materials for doctors. And now he wants to be your governor, and the race is so close that he could be. But before we dive into exactly how Ciattarelli profited from one of New Jersey's deadliest public health crises, you need to understand who he's aligned himself with politically, because it's not just about what he did in the past, it's about who he's embracing right now and what that means for New Jersey's future. Cut to the clip.
What grade would you give President Trump for his second term?
Right now, I'd certainly give the president an A. I think he's right about everything that he's doing.
I think that tells us all we need to know about.
That's Jack Ciattarelli giving Donald Trump an A+ rating. Let that sink in. The same Trump who appointed judges that rolled back healthcare protections, the same Trump whose administration slashed funding for addiction programs while the opioid crisis raged, the same Trump who's now stacking his cabinet with people like Kristi Noem, a woman who bragged about shooting her own puppy and is now terrorizing immigrant communities with military-style raids. Trump cut $350 million in additional addiction treatment funding from New Jersey this year, forcing clinics to close and treatment programs to end. Ciattarelli made millions off of the opioid crisis, and now he's praising the guy gutting the programs meant to fix it. Ciattarelli thinks that all of that deserves an A. He is not a moderate Republican trying to distance himself from MAGA extremism. This is a MAGA candidate who made millions off of the opioid crisis and is now running on Trump's approval. And what we are going to reveal later in this video on the company he keeps at his rallies will show you exactly the kind of governor he'd be. Make sure you're subscribed because we're covering the stories that legacy media continues to miss. And what Jack Ciattarelli did during New Jersey's deadliest public health crisis needs to be seen by every voter before Election Day. So, between 2008 and 2017, while New Jersey families were planning funerals, Galen Publishing received over $12 million from pharmaceutical companies. To do what exactly? To produce educational materials for doctors that downplayed the dangers of opioids. Materials that used language strikingly similar to Big Pharma's own marketing propaganda. One article Ciattarelli's company published actually claimed that the risk of opioid misuse is low amongst patients with chronic pain who do not have pre-existing substance abuse disorders. This is the exact kind of misinformation that led doctors to overprescribe opioids, leading directly to the addiction crisis that devastated communities across New Jersey and America. But wait, it gets so much worse. In 2016, Teva Pharmaceuticals, one of the biggest opioid manufacturers in the world, a company that later had to pay $4.5 billion to settle claims that they fueled the opioid crisis, paid Ciattarelli's company nearly $1,400 to create an app called Living with Pain. But this wasn't a pain management resource app. This was something far more sinister. Internal documents from Teva revealed that this app, originally called the Virtual Patient Coach, was designed to coach patients on how to talk to their doctors on how to get hydrocodone prescriptions. Let me say that again. Ciattarelli's company created an app that literally trained people how to manipulate their doctors into prescribing opioids. The timing? The app was launched to coincide with Teva's rollout of Ventrella, their extended release hydrocodone product. Internal emails celebrate the project as part of a marketing push. They gave patients specific strategies, specific talking points, and specific scripts, all designed to help them secure opioid prescriptions. And Jack Ciattarelli? He praised this project in press releases. He called it an educational resource. He bragged about his company's expertise in planning and training. Something important to note, Jack Ciattarelli was attacked for this, and he was attacked for his role in the opioid crisis back in 2021. However, such ads didn't receive as wide attention back then. Take a look here at this clip.
Ciattarelli is hiding the truth about his business record.
I started and built 2 successful Main Street businesses.
The truth? Ciattarelli made millions misleading people about the risks of opioids. The cost? Thousands of New Jersey families devastated by opioid abuse. He profited while New Jersey families suffered. We can't trust him to lead our state.
It's wild because this story nearly ended Jack Ciattarelli's political career in 2021. The New Jersey Democratic State Committee released this ad exposing his ties to Big Pharma and to the opioid crisis. Ciattarelli lost that race by just over 3 points, but now in 2025, he's back, and he's hoping that New Jersey voters have just completely forgotten. But the thing about New Jersey people is we don't forget. Let me paint you a picture of what was happening in New Jersey while Ciattarelli was cashing those checks. In 2012, fewer than 1,000 New Jerseyans died from opioid overdoses. By 2022, that number had climbed to over 2,700. That's nearly triple. Thousands of parents who will never see their children graduate, thousands of children who grew up without a parent, thousands of families torn apart. And during those years, Jack Ciattarelli's company was producing materials that minimized addiction risks and coached patients on how to get more pills. This is about a man who made millions helping pharmaceutical companies push deadly drugs. Tens of thousands of New Jerseyans died while he cashed their checks. And now he wants to be their governor? Think about what the governor of New Jersey does. The governor shapes public health policy. They oversee state healthcare programs. They set priorities that impact millions of families. The governor could prevent the next epidemic or improve treatment programs for people suffering from the disease of addiction. And New Jersey Republicans want to hand that power to a man who profited from the opioid crisis. When reporters started asking questions about this history, you know what Ciattarelli called it? He called it a smear. He dismissed the entire investigation as partisan attacks. But here's the thing about facts. They don't care about your political spin. They don't care about your party. The paper trail is so extensive. Press releases with Ciattarelli's name on it, internal emails from Teva celebrating partnerships with Galen Publishing, grant records showing millions of dollars flowing from Big Pharma into Ciattarelli's company can all be found and attributed online. This is all very much public record. Let me ask you something. If your family member died from an opioid overdose or suffered from the disease of addiction, would you vote for a man who made millions helping push those pills? If you're a parent terrified of your teenager getting addicted to painkillers, do you trust Jack Ciattarelli to fix the crisis he profited from? The opioid epidemic doesn't happen by accident. It involved corporations, educational institutions, and individuals who chose to enrich their own lives at the expense of others. People who knew what they were doing, who saw the death toll rising and kept cashing checks anyway. Jack Ciattarelli is one of those people. And while he was publishing materials downplaying opioid risks, families were planning funerals. While he was creating apps coaching patients to get more prescriptions, emergency rooms were overflowing. While he was depositing millions from Teva Pharmaceuticals, New Jersey was becoming ground zero for a public health catastrophe. And now he's running on a platform of accountability and response and leadership. The audacity is stunning. Jack Ciattarelli made his fortune in the shadows of tragedy. He profited while communities suffered, and now he wants to shape the very policies that could have prevented this crisis that he exploited. He could have refused the money. He could have questioned what he was being asked to produce. He could have stood on the side of public health instead of pharmaceutical profits, but he didn't. And the company he keeps now, it tells you everything you need to know about who Jack Ciattarelli really is and why they're calling him the Trump of Trenton. Cut to the clip.
And we went down, the President of the United States had us in the White House the other day, and we were talking about the violent left, and we were talking about the Antifa networks. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, the networks are real. We know they're real. We're not playing games anymore, folks. We're not playing games. We're coming for you. We're coming for every single one of you. We got Bondi, we got Bongino, we got Cash, we got the whole 9 yards, the Joint Terrorism Task Force. We're coming for you. And I don't care what your last name is, by the way. I don't care if your last name is Clinton. I'm going to say it. Should I say it, folks? I don't care if your last name is Soros, all right? We are coming. We are coming. So you better keep your money clean, because we're gonna follow the money every single place it goes. And you got these people saying they're gonna flee the country. Well, I'll tell you something.
That's Jack Posobiec, right-wing conspiracy theorist who promoted Pizzagate, a now debunked, very debunked conspiracy theory from 2016 that falsely claimed high-ranking Democratic officials, including Hillary Clinton, were running a child sex trafficking ring out of Washington, D.C., out of a pizza restaurant called Comet Ping Pong. Jack is also known for spreading white supremacist content like the Great Replacement Theory, which is a white supremacist conspiracy theory claiming that immigration is a deliberate plot to eliminate white people. This lie has directly inspired mass shooters who have murdered people in Christchurch, El Paso, Pittsburgh, and Buffalo, killing over 95 people combined. Posobiec works for Turning Point USA and is embraced by Trump, despite being documented by the Southern Poverty Law Center as having extensive ties to white supremacists and neo-fascists. This is the company that Jack Ciattarelli keeps. This is the rhetoric at his rallies. And this is who wants to be your governor. The stakes in this election are life and death for thousands of New Jersey families dealing with the aftermath of the opioid crisis. Families who lost loved ones, communities still struggling with addiction. Healthcare systems are still overwhelmed because the opioid crisis doesn't discriminate. It hits every race, every class, every age, and every community. Unlike other drug epidemics, millions became addicted simply by following their doctor's orders after surgeries or injuries. They trusted the medical system, and pharmaceutical companies deliberately lied about how addictive these drugs were. Suburban moms, veterans, high school athletes, nurses, entire families were destroyed because they believed opioids were safe. So the question isn't whether Jack Ciattarelli did these things. The evidence is clear. The question is, are New Jersey voters going to reward him for it? But here's the thing we cannot ignore. Every overdose death is a policy failure, and people struggling with a disease of addiction or experimenting with drugs do not deserve to die. While Jack Ciattarelli was profiting from the opioid crisis, there were people on the ground doing the real work, harm reductionists, public health workers, community organizers who understood that saving lives mattered more than politics or profit. Right now, deadly fentanyl is infiltrating communities across New Jersey and across the entire country. It's making its way into party drugs. It's showing up where people don't expect it. And it's killing people who never intended to use opioids at all. Here's what Jack Ciattarelli and those pieces of marketing and sales material won't tell you. Narcan is a life-saving medication that can reverse an opioid overdose 60% of the time. It's easy for non-medical bystanders to use, and in many places throughout the country, it's free. Many states have programs that provide free Narcan to any resident who requests the medication through community health and harm reduction programs. These organizations will train you and provide life-saving medication to you to use for anyone who walks through their doors. Here are a few examples. All New York City residents can receive free Narcan and free training from the health department and from registered opioid overdose prevention programs. Some vending machines and pharmacies in the city provide free Narcan too. The Chicago Department of Public Health partners with the Chicago Public Library to provide free Narcan. Cook County Public Health maintains a current map of Narcan resources. And yes, even in New Jersey allows anyone age 14 and over to get Narcan for free and anonymously from participating pharmacies. Most people don't know about the accessibility of Narcan because of the stigma surrounding mental health, addiction, and overdose, and the communities most impacted. The stigma contributes to the deadliness of this disease, and politicians like Jack Ciattarelli, who profited from the crisis, have done nothing to reduce it. While Ciattarelli was making millions helping Big Pharma push pills, harm reductionist workers were in the streets saving lives. While he was depositing checks from Teva Pharmaceuticals, community health workers were training people to use Narcan. While he was publishing materials that downplayed addiction risk, real public health advocates were fighting to make life-saving medication accessible. So I need you to vote. Tomorrow, October 14th, is the voter registration deadline in New Jersey. Go to vote.org, check on your registration, register if you are not, show up. But don't stop there. Carry Narcan, get training. on how to administer it should you encounter an overdose. It's very easy, and while training is not required, it helps you confidently know how to identify an overdose and understand what to expect should you need to administer Narcan. I got training at a community health center a few years back. It was free, took less than 30 minutes, and now I carry Narcan as often as I can. If you work in big events, or if you work in entertainment or hospitality, or if you live in a community touched by the crisis, which is pretty much everywhere now, this is the simplest thing you can do to actually save someone's lives. Because while we're out here trying to save lives, politicians like Ciattarelli profited from the crisis that's killing 7,000 New Jerseyans every single day. The next one could be someone you love. 23,000 New Jerseyans are dead, 23,000 families destroyed. Don't let Ciattarelli make you forget he profited from every single one of these deaths. And as you head to the polls, remember, Ciattarelli chose profit over the people of New Jersey. We can choose differently. Choose leaders who prioritize lives over pharma money. Get trained on how to use Narcan. Hold Ciattarelli accountable. Subscribe and share the story with every New Jersey voter you know. Find your local harm reduction program and take care. And then a closing statement. Everything in this video is based on publicly available documents and records. These are my views, and I encourage you to look into it and form your own opinions. Again, I lost my voice. Be easy on me. I'm trying my best. Thank you.